Hello, fellow alumni. Welcome to HSAIR. This is your radio show. And I'm your host, Emilie C. This edition of HSAIR will be featuring President's Day and Valentine's Day, and our first segment features the history of Valentine's Day, brought to you by Josh Van Vleet.
Hello, HSA. This is Josh Van Vleet with a little Valentine's Day history lesson. In reality, no one knows the real story of Valentine's Day, or even much about St. Valentine himself. There seems to be many variations of the story, partly because there are 3 different St. Valentines from different parts of the world with different stories. But there is one story which is more commonly accepted than the rest, and this is the story I'm going to share with you today. A long time ago, way back around 270 AD, the Roman Emperor Claudius II needed more men for his army. Emperor Claudius thought that men weren't enlisting because they were married and didn't want to leave their families. So he issued a decree that no man could get married until he reached a certain age. At this time, a Catholic priest named Valentinus in Rome didn't believe the new decree was just or godly, so he secretly performed wedding ceremonies for any young couple who wanted to get married before the decreed age. Eventually, Emperor Claudius found out about Valentinus' secret ceremonies and had him arrested and sentenced him to death. While Valentinus was in prison, the jailer took advantage of having an educated priest in his prison, and he sent his blind daughter Julia to Valentinus for some schooling. During the last weeks of Valentinus' life, he taught Julia as much as he could about Rome's history, the natural world she couldn't see, arithmetic, and of course, Valentinus taught Julia about God and his love for all humanity. In one version of the story, one day Julia asked, "Valentinus, does God really hear our prayers?" "Yes, my child, he hears each one," was his response. "Do you know what I pray for every morning and every night?" she continued. "I pray that I might see. I want so much to see everything you've told me about." To reassure the girl, Valentinus reminded Julia, "God does what is best for us, if we only believe in him." "Oh, Valentinus, I do believe, I do," she said as she knelt and grasped his hand. According to the story, there was a brilliant light in the prison cell as they sat quietly together praying. "Valentinus, I can see, I can see!" Julia exclaimed. "Praise be to God!" Valentinus said as he knelt in prayer to thank God for his healing mercies. As the story continues, weeks later, on the eve of his death, knowing he wouldn't see her again, Valentinus wrote Julia a goodbye note, in which he encouraged her to stay close to God always and to trust him in everything. At the end of the note, he signed his name, Your Valentine. The next day, Valentinus was beheaded for defying the Roman Emperor's anti-marriage decree. These days, we seem to have lost sight of the true meaning of Valentine's Day. Today, Valentine's Day is little more than a day to just say, "I love you," with flowers and candies. So now that you know the story, I hope you all remember what Valentine's Day is really all about. It's about sacrificial love, the kind of love that fights for what's right, even in the face of danger, the kind of love that is strong, even in imprisonment. This is the type of love that inspired the Catholic Church to devote a special day, the day of Valentinus' execution, to love, despite the fact that they didn't even have the real story written down or confirmed. As homeschool alumni, I think we can have a special understanding of this love. Our parents showed us this love firsthand through their dedication and sacrifice to bringing us up in a way that they knew was right, against a culture that sometimes said they would fail, and against a culture that, at times, fought against them. Some of our parents even suffered serious consequences for their decision to homeschool us, whether it was rejection by those around them, or even, in some cases, imprisonment. On this day, February 14th, Valentine's Day, I hope we all take some time to think about more than just puppy love, and perhaps we'll consider the sacrifices and the sacrificial love shown to us by our parents through their choice to homeschool each of us. Perhaps, Instead of only sending a card to our sweethearts, we might also consider sending one to our parents, who are our real Valentines.
Next up, we'll be featuring an interview with the 5 Browns. The 5 Browns are brothers and sisters. Ryan, 20, Melody, 21, Gregory, 23, Deandra, 25, and Desiree, 27, who are all Juilliard-trained concert pianists. They have created a unique phenomenon in classical music and were ranked by Billboard as one of the top classical artists of 2005. All 5 siblings were homeschooled, and Camden and Riley Spiller recently had the chance to visit with them backstage about their homeschool experience.
Okay, we're here with the 5 Browns, guys. We really enjoyed your performance. We're very interested to hear about your upbringing, how you balanced your practice schedule with your education. What can you tell us about that?
Well, this is Desiree. You know, doing homeschool actually gave us a lot more time to practice. That was probably the main reason we started doing that. And it was actually school by correspondence. There was a school in Chicago, the American school, that most of us did our education through. Okay. And so that was our main reason.
Fantastic. Now, have you guys all finished? What are your ages here? The youngest is Ryan. Do I have that right?
This is Ryan. I'm 21. I still have a year left of school.
Okay.
Of college.
Fantastic.
I would be a senior right now. But I'm having to take a year off of school just because of all the touring, and we're recording. Just about to start recording the new CD, third CD.
Excellent. If you could tell us one thing about making that transition from homeschool into your larger environment with Juilliard, what could you give us there?
This is Gregory. You know, I thought initially maybe it would be a little more difficult than it actually was. It was really a no-brainer. You know, we did the homeschool the whole time, but like we didn't feel like we were socially awkward or anything. And when we finally got to college, everything was just fine. I had plenty of friends, and the classes were easy enough. I mean, I think it worked out just great.
Fantastic.
This is Melody. What was really interesting for all of us is that Juilliard has an exchange program with Columbia University. And so we decided that to switch things up a bit, we'd go over there and take some classes just to see if our homeschooling was up to par and everything. Right. And it was no problem at all. So we really enjoyed it. And I think something about homeschooling is that it adds a lot of depth because you get to really study a lot of literature and different things. And so that
one-on-one
is one-on-one, yeah, exactly. So that was really nice about going into school.
This is Deandra. We also noticed that a lot of people at Juilliard who have excelled in dance and all sorts of musical instruments had their starts with homeschool, just because it frees up your time to be able to, stretch your mind in different ways, and so it seemed to work for most of us.
Very exciting. Thank you guys for the time.
Yeah. No, thanks a lot. Thanks for waiting around.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Good to meet you guys. Thanks so much.
Likewise. Thank you.
For more information on the 5 Browns, including their concerts and recordings, you can visit their website at www.the5browns.com. That's spelled with the numeral 5.
This is Brian Plett. Theodore Roosevelt said, "To educate a man in mind and not in morals is to educate a menace to society."
Daniel Gardner is an HSA member currently living in Brazil with his missionary family. His quirky and often insightful humor has created a homeschool celebrity. We're excited to bring you his latest skit on Valentine's Day, followed by an update on the HSA European Tour by Camden Spiller.
Valentine's Day. It's that one day of the year where you mean so much to someone that they are willing to spend money on you. I hereby prove I am a capable companion for the rest of your life by buying you 12 insignificant pieces of chocolate. This day of all days, I will express my love by writing poems. Every other verse is, I need you so bad. You're beautiful. I need you so bad. So get ready for some couples walking around with that glazy-eyed, dazed look. You know that sound trucks make when they go into reverse? Beep, beep, beep. We ought to attach some sort of warning beep to couples. The other day I saw this car driving down Main Street and written on the back was just married. That's the kind of warning label I'm talking about. We need various stages. Just met, just kissed, just engaged. There are glazy-eyed, dazed-faced couples walking on our streets. Be cautious. Couples have a thinking mentality. Cupids are cute. They're naked babies with weapons of war. That's Cute. No. You like that idea? Well, then let's update it with a more modern weapon of war. Yes, that's a Cupid with an Uzi. Isn't that darling? My goodness. One thing I like to watch is how couples are always asking questions about each other. It gets to the point where it's just plain ridiculous. I just wanted to ask if you tied your shoes all by yourself this morning. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. You know how ladies go into the restroom to straighten their hair and all that? Not that I've ever been there myself. Well, guys actually go into the restroom to mess up their ties, unravel their collars, and, make a mess of their hair so that when they come out, the girl will look at him and be like, oh, bless his heart, he needs to be cared for. And all this attention causes the guy to purr. This is my sister and her boyfriend, the family cat. What about guys who completely throw their sense of independence out the window when they get involved in a relationship? They can do absolutely nothing for themselves. Well, excuse me if I lost the transitional period between Dad, leave me alone, I can do it by myself. And, sweetie, can you come do this for me? I think I need your help. It's like, they can't cross the road together. The guy has to be like, hang in there, sweetie, look both ways. It's safe to go now. Step. Love it! Where was I? Right, Valentine's Day. Yeah, if you're still single, congratulations. Buy yourself some chocolate.
And now here's Camden Spiller on the HSA European Tour.
Only 16 days till we leave for the HSA 2007 European Tour. We're taking care of last-minute details, packing the bags, digital cameras, and even some audio equipment. So stay tuned next month for a trip report, and keep an eye on blogs around HSA for the sights and sounds of homeschool graduates in Europe.
Hello, this is Brian again. Calvin Coolidge said, "Education is for the purpose of bringing to bear the experiences of the past and finding the solutions of the problems of the present."
One of the purposes of HSAIR is to highlight the accomplishments of homeschool graduates, and this month Pamela B. brings us the story of a graduate who made significant achievements in the field of politics.
This edition of HSAIR spotlights a homeschool graduate named Ted. He was born in New York City into a wealthy and influential family. Ted was a very curious child, and his parents encouraged his eager interest. They also guided his moral and spiritual instruction. Ted's mother inspired him with stories and songs of his heritage, and she set an example of the art of warm hospitality. Ted's father was a businessman, a philanthropist, a patriot, an intellectual, an outdoorsman, and a devoted Christian. He inspired the sense of righteousness and discipline, as well as the great zest for living, that was to distinguish Ted for the rest of his life. Ted's aunt supervised his formal homeschooling and provided him a solid classical education. She helped him cover literature, history, music, theology, philosophy, and the trivium disciplines of grammar, logic, and rhetoric. Ted learned Greek, Latin, and math from a tutor in preparation for attending Harvard. Before Ted left, his father said, "Take care of your morals first, your health next, and finally your studies." Ted took the advice to heart and vowed to study well, finish Harvard, and carry on like a brave Christian gentleman. He later told his mother that because of his parents, "I have never spent an unhappy day unless by my own fault." He wrote to his father, "I do not think there is a fellow in college who has a family who love him as much as you all do me. I am sure that there is no one who has a father who is also his best and most intimate friend, as you are." His voracious appetite for learning became a lifelong joy. He read 5 books a week for the rest of his life, and he wrote nearly 60 books, ranging in topic from history to biography to natural science to social criticism. Before he was 50 years old, he had served in the New York State Legislature, been a U.S. Army colonel, been an undersecretary for the Navy, been a New York City Police Commissioner, been a U.S. Civil Service Commissioner, been a New York governor, and finally he became President of the United States. This homeschool graduate grew up to preside over one of the most popular and peaceful administrations of U.S. history. His administration was distinguished by courage and respect for biblical principles. Theodore Roosevelt downplayed his own accomplishments and expressed gratitude for his parents' training and for their faithfulness.
Next in line, Camden and Riley Spiller's HSA News Update.
Thank you for tuning into HSAIR. In this month's HSA News segment, I have information about the National Reunion, an update on an event in the Northeast, and some ideas on the roundtable that I'd like to get your thoughts on. Alright, first item on the list is the National Reunion. Our National Reunion Planning Committee has been hard at work, actually for a little while now, pulling together the details and just working up a wonderful event for 2007. The news I have to release now is the date. We've decided on July 19th through 22nd. That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The overwhelming piece of feedback we received from last year is it was just too short. We needed more time. Everyone had a blast, but just wished it was a little longer. We're going to come in Thursday this time. We're going to come in, we're going to have we're thinking registration will open early afternoon so we can get folks in. There's nothing really scheduled at this time for Thursday, so it's more of just kind of get there, fellowship time. We'll have dinner, and then kick things off officially on Friday. But more exciting news about the National Reunion will be in next month's edition of HSAIR. The next bit of news may be of particular interest to those in America's Northeast. The Massachusetts Homeschool Organization of Parent Educators, also known as MassHope, has their annual conference, April 27th through 28th. This year, HSA will be there. We'll have a table where we're looking forward to meeting a lot of the homeschool graduates in the Northeast. We're also going to be giving a 45-minute workshop entitled, What is HSA? If you're in the area, come join us, April 27th through 28th at the MassHope Annual Convention. Check the HSAIR blog for more details. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the roundtable. As more and more people are participating in roundtable discussions, we're considering ways to improve the framework for discussion there. One of the ideas that's floated around for quite some time now is developing subcategories for topics within the roundtable. A look at the 60 most recent topics developed within the roundtable reveals that 57% of the topics can be categorized into 3 categories. Can you guess what these are? Let me tell you. The breakdown is divided into these categories: biblical and theological issues, with 27% of the topics falling into that category; political issues, with 20% of the topics falling into that category; and marriage and relationship issues, of course, with 10% of the topics falling into that category. The idea is to create perhaps subcategories within the roundtable for these areas of discussion. There's some advantages to doing this. Those would be making topics more accessible by creating context for the subject matter. It may encourage more people to read and participate in these discussions. It'll help new users get involved. It can be overwhelming sometimes for new folks to visit the roundtable and just see one area with a scatter of subject matter. This also will make the roundtable less prone to becoming saturated with a single area of subject matter. And we've seen this from time to time, over the last year and a half or so. It just only can take 4 or 5 posters who are just really interested in talking about one topic to pretty much hold the floor, to just dominate the roundtable with a topic that may or may not be of interest to the rest of the group. It's just a little lack of variety. And if we do this, if we have these 3 subcategories, and then still the main roundtable for everything else, it may give us some variety, some opportunity to have more simultaneous discussions, and just make the content more accessible. I want to go ahead and just put this out there to you guys, let you know we're thinking about it. I'll probably post something about this on the administrator's blog as well. If you have thoughts on this, let me know. I'd love to hear what you think about the roundtable and ways that we could improve the framework of discussion. Have a great week.
Hi everyone, this is Riley, bringing you news of some updates around the HSA website, namely the Message Center. We've just posted a live preview of a brand new Message Center. It's online now. Click to the administrator's blog on HSA and you'll find a link. It's a fully functional preview. You can click over there and use it just like your current Message Center, but you'll already be enjoying a lot of the new features. The most noticeable will be a design update. We've overhauled the entire design to make it a more cleaner, organized, easier to use Message Center. It'll be easier to keep track of correspondence with a replied to indicator, letting you know when you've replied to a message. We've cleaned up the folder system as well, making it easier for you to track messages, both in your sent items and saved messages. Another notable feature is that you can now view the official HSA blog and the administrator blog right from your inbox. This will allow you to better keep up to date on what's happening in the community and around HSA. So feel free to check it out now and let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Also, I'd like to update you on photo comments, a new feature that we announced last HSAIR. We're still working on it. We've run into some security issues that have kept us from launching it thus far, but it will be online soon, along with the launch of the brand new Message Center. I'm sure you guys are going to love both. Thanks a lot. We'll see you around.
Hello, this is Brian. Rutherford B. Hayes once said, "Learn to know yourself to the end that you may improve your powers, your conduct, your character." This is the true aim of education, and the best of all educations is self-education.
I hope you've had fun listening to this edition of HSAIR. I know we've had fun putting it together for you. Many thanks goes to those who contributed to this program: Camden and Riley Spiller, Pamela B., Brian Plett, Josh Van Vleet, the 5 Browns, and Daniel Gardner. This is Emilie C. signing off. See you next time, HSA.
Hello, homeschooled person. This is the first ever Homeschool Online mystery guest. That is right, the mystery guest. In a moment, this program will be over. As soon as it is, you need to run directly to the foyer. There you will find a poll with several options on it, one of which is me. The rest, naturally, are not. By participating in this poll, you will become a participant in the most wonderful online radio program in the world, HSA Mystery Guest. Thank you for listening to this month's edition of HSAIR. Though you won't know who I am, see you around HSA.